Bigfoot Club for life. Too sweet!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bigfoot Club. Robert Jesse Dominguez, Ash Tucker, Chris Collins, Stephen Robert Dominguez, Earl Kennedy. Believe in us, believe in Bigfoot Club, because we are too sweet.
Hey, this is Luke Gross, and you're listening to Bigfoot Club Podcast.
Hey everybody, Bigfoot Club Season 2, Episode 18. Robert Jesse Dominguez with
Ash.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I wanted to do a correction from the last show. The last show we had, episode 17, we had Brad Freeman and Lauren Gonzalez, and they were from Texas Paranormal Expeditions of DFW. And I was talking about that I was handing shows to another guy on Pentex, and I was stating that that he wasn't following through, and he wasn't getting back with the client. And after the show aired that night, he instant messaged me, this gentleman that I didn't say his name or didn't say his group's name, and he instant messaged me, and he was kind of upset, and he said he didn't appreciate that I didn't follow through. So I wanted to make a correction on that. So there was a couple cases that I gave him. One was a gentleman in Odessa that was having some problems, and he was really hard to get in touch with. And then eventually, he stopped responding, and then eventually he moved to Garland. And then he called. He hit me back up. I sent Brad out there. And there was another case where there was a gentleman posting stuff, and I wasn't sure if he needed help. And then I think reached out to him, and he changed his mind, or he said the stuff went away. And then there was the third one was a case where Tanya and I had thought it was child abuse.
I remember that one.
Yeah, so I stopped him from going out there. So it wasn't that he didn't follow through. It's just the most of the cases I ended up giving to Brad because I just felt more confident, in Brad, and calling the client out and stuff like that. So I just wanted to point that out, that he didn't. It's not that he didn't do that. He didn't follow through. It's just circumstances happen. Yeah. So anyway,
it happens. I've been there before where you really want to do something, but life happens, or it's something outside of your realm of knowledge or whatever,
I'm really excited. We have two guests again, two weeks in a row, two guests. So we have Cecelia Stroessner Clark and John Clark with Crazy Cat Paranormal. They're founders for Crazy Cat Paranormal, and they also do Crazy Cat Paranormal Speaks podcast, which is really good. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. We heard this is where all the cool kids hang out, so we thought we'd come over and...
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Wrong.
So I was kind of worried whenever we were getting this stuff because we're technical. I'm not a great technical person, so I had to lean on John a little bit on this one. So thanks, John.
Absolutely. We, by the skin of our teeth, as they say.
It's a little bit of the line, but it seems to be working okay.
How you guys got started in paranormal?
Well, I think we both grew up with experiences. So it's fortunate that we met each other because crazy attracts crazy, I guess. I can't speak to John's early years, but mine started as far back as I can remember, with the weird dreams and the seeing things and the hearing things and, the shadow figures and all of that, to the point that I think I was 6 or 7 when I started trying to do EVPs with a tape recorder. My cousin and I would sit up at night, and we would try to catch keys on a tape recorder. And for those out there who don't know what a tape recorder is, it is a large contraption. It has,
I had one of those.
Yeah.
It precedes the digital recorder by many decades.
It's an analog magnetic memory device.
There you go. And we would sit up at night and we would try to catch EVPs and we'd go around with the flashlights and the cameras. Although back then you had to wait a week to get your pictures back. You didn't have them instantly.
Right.
And it just followed me my whole life. So it was always there for me. It was always the norm for me. You know, I was the weird kid in the back of the lunchroom kind of thing. But I don't know how John started.
Well, I do remember as a young kid growing up, we grew up in a suburb of Washington, D.C., and our house backed up onto a forest with running streams and waterfalls and Indian old fields and just all kinds of great stuff to go explore as kids. Copperhead snakes, you had to be careful of them. But anyway, I remember just seeing like shadow figures and things like that at dusk over the fence down in the woods when I was in the backyard and Dad was barbecuing. We just mowed the lawn and all that stuff. But I didn't think anything of it because I didn't know any better. I didn't know that wasn't normal. It just was some part of life growing up. And then I guess I really started becoming more aware of that kind of thing when my older sister and her friends would bring out I'm going to say it, the Ouija board.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
In the finished basement with the Ouija board and candles, and I would be hanging out in the perimeter, seeing what was going on, and I thought to myself, this is all a bunch of hocus pocus. There's nothing going on here. But I wanted to be with the older kids. So when I really started sensing that there might be something to this and becoming aware of it was probably right about the time that Cecelia and I met. And
I rubbed off on you.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't really together yet, but we had met. Mm-hmm. And I was living in a place with my sister, helping her with a project, and I actually picked up a spirit that's followed me for 20 plus years to this day, from place to place, state to state, property to property. At that time, I also saw some things that weren't of our world. They were otherworldly things. I guess the best way to put it. And I spoke to a well-renowned medium who's since passed away, but somebody who was a pretty big producer in Hollywood and was always into that kind of thing. And I reached out to him for advice, and he told me, explained to me about that and seeing things like that where there's kind of a rift between realms. And that woke me up because these things were not, they were humanoid, but they certainly weren't human. They were kind of creepy. They didn't bother me. They never came after me or reached out toward me or anything, but I could see them plain as day, 25 feet away from me.
Could you?
And it always happened like.
Could you
go ahead?
Could you elaborate a little bit more on what these things were?
Yeah. So, and I wish I remember what he called them. He had a name for them. And I do not recall, and I apologize for that, but they were kind of like, I guess the best comparison I could give it was things from Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, they were creatures like made of compilation of several different species of something that we know, because that's all we have to compare anything to, are things that we know.
Right.
And they were kind of like dancing around something, like in some kind of ritual sometimes, and other times they were kind of like having like a nervous fit, like rubbing their face, rubbing their head, rubbing their eyes furiously. I do remember that activity too. And like I said, they never came toward me or reached out toward me or even really acknowledged my presence. Mm-hmm. And so I was just kind of an observer looking at them. But this happened in kind of a thicket of overgrown foliage in a copse of trees between my sister's property and the property next door.
Okay.
And it always late at night, like after midnight for sure. And usually probably 1:30 to 3:30 in the morning. If I was still up, stepped outside for a smoke break, something like that, that's when I would see them.
Wow. The word to describe that is escaping me too. It's like they said it on Hellier. It's like the Earth. Do you remember, Ash? It's like a deity from the Earth or something. I don't know, but anyway,
you're right on it. You're right on it. That's exactly what he explained to me, and he had a word for it, and I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, I can't think of it right now for some reason. I was talking to someone at work about it, and it's escaping me. I know after the show, it's going to drive me crazy. I'm going to look it up anyway. But wow,
you have to look.
Go ahead.
Also, one other thing, during this same time period, this little girl, what age do we think she is?
She's about
12?
8. No, she's about 9.
8 or 9, right?
Yeah, she's young.
I would see her when I was out working late at night on a personal project out in the horse barn, and I'd see her, and sometimes a little bit older than her boy. They would be together, but almost always just her out of the corner of my eye. And it was one of those things that you couldn't, if you tried to look straight at her, she wasn't there, but she was there in your peripheral vision. And so I learned not to look. I learned to try to concentrate on my peripheral vision and get as much detail as I could, because she wouldn't run away if I wasn't looking directly at her.
Right.
And during that same time period, my sister was asleep in bed while I was out working late in the barn. She would see what later she described as the same girl. She thought it was her daughter, popping her head up over the footboard and looking at her and her husband in their bed. And she was like, "What are you doing up at this hour?" And it wasn't really her daughter. It was somebody that looked very similar.
It wasn't her.
And then meanwhile, we find out after the fact that my sister's husband is astral projecting and out flying around the property every night outside of his body. We didn't know that was going on until a month or two down the road. And then when my sister found that out, she was like, "Well, you idiot, you could have your body taken over while you're not in it." There seems
to be a lot of energy where this is happening. So
yeah, for whatever reason, there was a portal of energy in this property.
Okay. Wow. So you guys met up, and how did you guys approach each other and say, "Hey, I'm in the paranormal"? Hey, me too. So
like that.
Yeah. How did you guys do that?
It wasn't really a discussion about the paranormal. It was more individual accounts of things we saw and both believed in and things like that. It was very natural. It wasn't just putting it out on a table and giving it a title.
Yeah, I don't hide it. So, I mean, it's part of who I am.
Right.
And John really doesn't hide it either. It's part of who he is. So, like meets like, it just was a natural thing. It was just there. And it's never been something that we're like, whoa, wait a minute.
Right. I like that.
You're shaking your head.
I mean, I noticed. Since the moment you guys joined Penn, Texas, for some reason, I just gravitated toward y'all. Like I gravitated toward y'all and Brad, and there's a few people like that's still in the group that I gravitated to, and it seemed, and as I got to know y'all and seeing like your posts and your Facebook pages and your podcast, it resonated with me how you guys want to help and you just want to educate, and it's just like. I don't know. I really, really dig it. I really like it. So I don't know. I think you guys are really, really cool. So.
And we're freaking adorable too.
Modest.
Oh yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that we started Crazy Cat Paranormal. Right. So this is something we've always looked into. We've always experimented with, we've always researched, but it comes a time when knowledge only takes you so far, and you've got to get out there and actually start helping people, or just settling people that not all hauntings are bad, and
right.
Not everything that's going on in your house is a haunting.
Right.
Sometimes it's a faulty wire in your wall or something like that.
More often than not, a lot of time.
Yeah.
To to get out there and alleviate some fears, we did a really big place in February, and the family was a little concerned about the things that were going on around the property. But I think by the time we left, they were pretty happy with everything.
Yeah,
they were pretty accepting of the entities that were residing on their property. They had some intelligent and some residual, and they were okay with it by the time we left.
I think they were actually reassured when we left, because these were things that undeniably they were seeing and experiencing, and had been for some time, and had never really had anybody come investigate it and explain it to them or anything else. So they seemed more at peace when we left, which is a good thing. Yes. Definitely, you don't want them to be around.
Yeah, when we got there, the wife wouldn't come out of the house. She's like, "You can't come in my house, and I'm not coming out of the house."
Yeah,
and by the time we left, she was having
property. That's it. When we started.
And by the time we left, she was participating in the EVP sessions and the contact sessions.
Yeah,
and
it was great.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that you guys provide that, and you know, gave them education and probably everything they wanted to hear, and not tell them. It's like you guys just seem like that way about everything. So
yeah, it seems like they got comfort in knowing that they weren't imagining things too.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's a big thing right there, right? Some people want to, I'm not crazy. I'm not imagining.
Yeah.
And also that
they're not in danger, correct?
Yeah.
I know from listening to your podcast and seeing some of your posts and stuff. I know, and I know we've talked about this as well. Is that you like, you're kind of like a sensitive Cecelia, and you I heard you talk about once that you go to an area and sometimes it takes you like a while to wind down, and then while I was listening to one of your podcasts, one of the guests on there was talking about a serial killer and how he was hung in this particular barn, and then I think you were drawing him, and you were talking about how he looked, and so I whenever I heard that part, I was like, you know, the hairs were standing up on me. I said, oh my god. So can you expound on that?
I wouldn't call myself a psychic, and I would not call myself a medium, right? I don't channel, but I do get glimpses. I do get feelings. I do get just overwhelmed with other people's emotions. It's just, it does knock me off my feet if I'm not prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
When we go out on a site to investigate, the first thing I'll do is walk around so that I could let those images in and get an idea of what's going on. And that's always been me. That's been my whole life. It's been my mom. It's been other members of my family who are not ready to embrace it yet. But it's my whole life. It's just it's not that I physically see them with my eyes. I see them in my head, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
It does.
It does.
It's a sensory thing. That particular podcast you were talking about, as Richard was talking about his experience and what was going on with that property that he researched and that he was having issues with, this image kept popping in my head.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even aware of doodling the image, and that happens a lot. I'll doodle an image.
I wondered what she was doing with a ballpoint pen on a little scrap of paper.
John was just staring at me, and I would look at it and shake my head and make changes, and I would look at it and shake my head and make changes. And, then I told Richard, I was like, hey, this is what I drew. And he's like, oh yeah, that's the guy. And I actually emailed him the picture, and he's like, yeah, that's him. And I don't draw well. I am a step above stick figures in my drawing capability.
I mean, because like you were explaining how he looked, and the guy was pausing for, I don't know, like 8 seconds, it seemed like forever. And he's like, I think he was touched whenever you had told him that, but I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, it threw him a little bit. I didn't mean to. I can't help it.
Yeah, but how would that not? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm just used to it. I think I'm just used to it. When we went and did a property and walked around, and there was a lot of activity going on, I kept seeing a little boy behind the building. Mm-hmm. And I'd stick my head back there and he'd look at me, and I'd stick my head back, or he'd stick his head around the building. And I mentioned it to the homeowner, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we see him all the time." I'm like, "Well, you didn't mention it
on the initial interview. That just happened to be left out."
Yeah.
It's a part of who I am. Just like everything else, I don't know how to explain it. I think somebody who's had training, somebody who's an actual psychic medium, somebody who has been embracing this and growing this gift their whole life might be able to explain it to you better. I just know that it is what it is. Like I'm talking to you now and I see a tree and a big tree, like a big tree like you would see in California, those red oaks. What do they call those? Mm-hmm. Those really big ones?
Redwood.
Redwoods, yeah.
So I see that around you, and those around you, or you in the middle of them, or whatever. So I don't know if you're planning a trip or you've been there or what, but
I am planning to go to South Dakota in June 17th. So
it's beautiful there, but I don't think it's the redwood forest.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to South Dakota in June the 17th, and I'm coming back on the 21st. I'm planning to go look at the monuments there and Deadwood and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So. Well, do me a favor. Right now, I want you to make a note that I said that to me that the redwood is just what I associate with. But it's something big and around you. So it could mean something big is going to happen for you, or it could be literal. I have no way of knowing.
Not big like Devil's Tower, Wyoming border, is it?
Okay.
This means something.
Oh,
yeah.
Not.
Because he's going to be right in the woods, and he might get a glimpse of it.
Yeah, don't get abducted by aliens, please.
No.
I kind of like it.
I'll try not to do that. Okay. No, but I actually is there a way, like, whenever you go home, are you able to shut that off, or is it always going on all the time?
I find if I'm out of the situation, it tones down a bit, but it's always going on. It's always flutzing in the back of my brain. And yeah, flutzing is a word. I just made it up, therefore it is a word.
Sometimes here at the house, just on a random weeknight evening or something like that, Cecelia will have a feeling, hey, we need to get this piece of equipment out and go in the backyard.
Yeah.
I don't think her antenna can be retracted. I think it's always out.
Yeah. Okay. I was just wondering because that's probably, it's to people, a lot of people say I want that, and a lot of people say, oh, I don't, so I just wanted to know where you were at on that.
I don't. I'm not unhappy having it. I don't want it to go away, but it does require a lot of energy. So if I go in a place that has got a lot of activity or there's a lot of emotion, it drains me like a battery, like a ghost on a battery. I'll tell you that.
It's like a ghost on equipment.
We went to a museum in Las Vegas that shall remain nameless because we're not plugging them, but we went to a haunted museum, and it took me days to get over the energy in that place.
Wow.
I'm not sensitive much at all. I mean, maybe a tenth, if that, of what Cecelia is. And there were a couple of areas and items and things that I could pick up on.
Mm-hmm. So it was.
But when I picked up,
it was flooded there,
at
right?
the level. Oh yeah. Oh, it's you're bombarded from all angles. So anyway, the couple things happened to be about, I guess you'd say murderers or technically murderers. Yeah. Artifacts and remains of those, I could feel stuff, but it's
literal remains, literal.
Yeah. Literal,
wow.
Remains of very famous murderers. But anyway, I picked up on that, but Cecelia picked up on that as well, but then she picked up on much more, whereas I didn't.
Yeah, it was overwhelming.
Yeah, it took her several days to get the static to subside.
And that's a lesson learned for people who are out there listening. If you are even a little bit sensitive, wear protection when you are going out and about. If you know a place is going to be active, or full of energy. I did not. I usually have a piece of tourmaline I wear around my neck for stuff like that because it does mute it a little bit, barricade it some. It just knocks it down to a reasonable level. And I didn't even think about it when we went. I wasn't even thinking. I was just excited about finally getting to go on vacation for a change. And yeah, that's a mistake I won't do twice.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, the thing about the protections is I'm hesitant to use them because I'm so sensitive to begin with that I find that if I do an initial walkthrough without them, I might pick up something somewhere, and that gives me an area of focus for later in the investigation. If I go in initially with, I carry tourmaline on a pendant around my neck, and if I go in wearing that, I'm almost guaranteed not to pick up anything. And so I don't know how much at risk, if any, I am of a negative attachment or something like that by not doing that. But I just know that if I do that, I pretty much might as well not be there.
Okay. Wow.
It tones it down for Cecelia. It turns it off for me.
Okay.
I still recommend.
I wanted to ask, what was the incident or the case that actually got you guys to start up Crazy Cat Paranormal?
I don't know if it was a particular case that made us start. It was just a lot of sitting around and talking. And I'm going to be honest, I do watch the shows on Travel Channel and A&E and all that, but they're for entertainment. And a lot of times what they're portraying is not safe, right? It's not accurate. It's not safe. And these poor people coming up who have never had the experiences, don't have the education, and they look at what goes on some of these shows and it's like, oh, well, I can do that. I can go and
buy these gadgets and
torment the ghosts and
provoke them. And
it's exciting. And yeah, it's exciting, but it's also dangerous and harmful. And so we were talking about it and we were like, you know what? We need to educate people. We need to have some kind of balance in this. And we're just a small crew. There's only 3 or 4 of us. We're a small crew in a small area, but every little bit helps. And that's one of the reasons we are trying to be so visible on social media, right?
By the way, small crew looking to recruit dedicated members.
Anybody with tech.
Well, you can always post stuff on Pentax anytime.
Absolutely.
Anytime you want to recruit people.
Yeah, remember you.
Go ahead.
I remember you said that. But I don't want people going into this thinking it's a game. I don't want people thinking, let's go get drunk and high and go stomp around a graveyard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do like on your podcast that you actually done a couple of podcasts where you were doing some Q&As and you're talking about Ouija boards and what to do like on an investigation. I really, really dig on that. So I was really happy to see that.
Board episode. I don't understand the controversy behind the Ouija board. It is just a piece of cardboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about it.
And I'll get booed at for saying that by a lot of people, but
it's no different than a full spectrum camera or an ovolus or any other tool or instrument that you would use.
Right.
It's just a tool.
And I guess people think that that it's bringing stuff in, and I just always assume that whatever it's talking to, it's already there. You're not opening a portal or whatever,
Right.
Here's the thing. It's a tool. If you don't know how to use the tool, don't use it.
Right. A hammer can build stuff, or it can be a deadly weapon. It just, depends on how you apply it.
A chainsaw, great for taking down a tree. Yeah, it just depends on your experience level. So if you want to use a Ouija board, don't. learn it first and then maybe think about it, and then have somebody who's knowledgeable about how to do protections and open and close a circle and all of that come and sit with you the first few times. That's my advice.
Awesome. Great advice. I love it. I was going to say, do you guys want to talk about any of y'all's cases that you've done recently?
Do you have anything in mind? That sounded like you did.
Like the most recent?
Yeah.
To date?
Yeah.
Last week?
Like last week?
What?
I'm still going through the videos.
So much to review, but
that place was insane.
yeah.
Am I allowed to say what place it was?
Yes.
The Haunted Hill Mineral Wells.
Is that the third most haunted location in the United States?
That is what we are told. I have not verified that
I can
fact
tell
yet.
you what, it's the only place I've ever actually gotten spooked.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Do you guys want to talk about it a little bit, or are you still going over evidence, or what? Are you still going over stuff?
Yeah. Well, here's the interesting thing about this. We are going over evidence and whatnot still, but it was hell on our equipment. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, we're not going to have a lot to present. But
well,
we're going to have plenty
but we
to talk
don't.
about.
But it was one of the most active places I have ever been. It never let up.
No.
From the moment I walked in, what they do is you go in, and Kathy and Sonny, they give you a little briefing in the kitchen to tell you what's going on in the house. They have a whole array of equipment.
Oh yeah, let me interject. This is a great place for anyone wanting to go try their hand at this. Again, warning: don't provoke, don't go in.
Oh God, don't provoke these people.
But at the same time, this is a great opportunity for somebody that wants to maybe see if this is for them, because they have a huge array of equipment that's
They've got a whole giant rack of equipment, and they will show you how to use it.
They got all the good stuff.
They got all the toys
for the guests to use. So that's a wonderful asset that they have there. But go ahead.
So we walk in, and we're not in this place maybe 6 minutes, maybe. And Kathy and Sonny are introducing themselves, and they're explaining everything. And I hear a whisper in my ear, "Hey, hey, hey." So I turn around and I walk out and I follow the whisper to this room. They call it the carousel room. And I can feel a presence in the room. I can feel a young girl in the room. And Kathy comes in after me. I'm like, I feel this young girl in this room, and she's whispering, "Hey," in my ear, and she's giggling. And, I mean, we weren't there 6 minutes, and it was starting already. And Kathy's like, "Oh yeah, blah, blah, blah." And then she gave us the story behind the young girl in that room and everything else. I'm trying not to give you too much detail about the house that way, history. I don't want to spoil it for people, but
No, that's fine.
And I was like, well, she's here, and I hear her, and it just didn't let up from that point on. It really didn't. The banging and the knocking and the things moving and the doors opening and
closing by themselves.
There was a door.
Objects moving,
talking, lots and lots of talking. I have
electrical devices turning off and then back on.
Battery drain.
Oh, battery drain.
The battery drain,
guys. I mean, our equipment. We know our equipment. We didn't use theirs, by the way, because we have pretty much mostly the same array.
Well, and we know ours.
And we know our equipment, and we know how long the batteries last, and we know how they behave. And they did not behave like they normally behave in this location. I'll just say that.
No, we replaced the batteries on several pieces of equipment, and we were doing a Facebook Live with the gang from Midnight Paranormal. We were doing this big interactive thing, and our idea was to have the folks in all the Facebook groups tell us, hey, we have this equipment, let's put something in this room, or let's try to teach them how to do an investigation. Mm-hmm. But everything our video died 6 times.
Yeah.
Like 6 times.
A couple hours it took us to finally get the thing up and running online. Right.
So we were supposed to start at 9, and by the time that we got the video to stay stable enough, it was about 11:30.
Yeah.
It was about 11:30 before Mike could get it working.
I know, it was shortly after 12 that I got spooked.
And Mike, and Mike was saying, this never happens. This never happens. And I'm like, I'm telling you.
Today on the screen, he He looks bewildered. His hands are out to the sides and his eyes are wide open. This just doesn't happen. I don't understand what's happening.
Wow.
But it was definitely an experience. Some of it's caught on video. We got a lot of SLS activity on video. I haven't gone through the audio yet. There's a piece of EVP where I did actually listen to, and I could hear somebody in the background, but I couldn't make out what they were saying. So I sent it to a friend of mine who is an audio expert, and he's trying to pull the sound forward for me so that I could play it, because I have no idea what she's saying, but I know it's a woman and it's not me because she's talking behind me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it was, and we went there not with the intention so much of, ooh, haunted house, we're going to catch so much stuff. We went there with, there's no way this place is as haunted as everybody says it is.
Yeah.
And I looked at all the videos on YouTube, and somebody told me the day before we left that it was on an episode of one of those Travel Channel shows. So I went on YouTube and I looked at that episode as well. And I'm like, nobody's catching anything. There's nothing going on. It's just a bunch of, oh, did you hear that? Oh, did you hear that? Oh, did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, this is ridiculous. Yeah, this is ridiculous.
They called the bluff.
So, I went with the intention, honestly, of saying, look, this is because the hinges are off on this door, or this is creaking because the house is old, or I was trying to, I hate to use the word debunk because it's such a stupid word, but I was trying to
Sounds stupid, doesn't it?
debunk as much as I could, but no, the house said no.
Did you guys?
The house said you.
Did you guys get like any sleep at all?
No. No, we did
Sounds like it.
Oh.
I've still not recovered it.
No, all right.
Yeah, are you going to give it away? So
I am.
let's put our weary heads down at 4:30
No,
in the morning.
this is even before we put our weary heads down at 4:30 in the morning. I went and laid down in the axe room, where they had to bolt the axe behind furniture to keep it from flying around the room. I went and laid down.
Scary.
And there's actually a bathroom in the room, so it's one of the few rooms that has a bathroom right in it.
Yeah.
And I'm laying down
right
on the
there
bed.
in the middle of the room. No.
And I'm facing the bathroom. And I see John come out of the bathroom, walk along the front of the bed, and go out the door of the room. Mm-hmm. Right? John's a smoker, but he doesn't smoke inside. He goes outside to smoke. So that's what I thought. Except John was already outside.
John was out back. The furthest possible place from this room.
This was one out front. John was already out. So I was like, oh, come on, guys. Come on. And then we went to lay down about 8:30 finally, and we couldn't sleep. Because...
She elbows me. Do you hear that? I'm like, all kinds of things. What?
Are you guys
so
going
they
back?
started. Yeah, we're going back, but we were trying to sleep, and they decided to sing.
Oh yeah.
From upstairs, they started singing. Like that old time saloon piano was going.
Yeah,
and
they had the
singing.
Frontier Saloon piano
And they were
pounding.
stomping their feet and having a good old time. And I was like, guys, I just want to sleep.
A bunch of men drunk on whiskey singing out of tune to the piano pounding.
Yeah, it was.
Now, here's what's interesting. So that's what Cecelia heard. What I heard was like, I'm going to try to explain it. A droning like organ. Mm-hmm. A really toned down version of what she was experiencing. So like in the background, chords that shift slowly and melodically and kind of
deeper
lulling.
than I am.
And, well, yes, both psychically and physically. And she heard the full honky-tonk piano and the men singing and all that. So we both heard the music. We both heard the party going on upstairs, but I heard it much different.
And I want to tell y'all something about that singing that we haven't told anybody yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Exclusive. Go ahead.
Exclusive. Going through the video from before we were trying to do the Facebook Live, before everything blew up. Everything really blew up at midnight. Things were absolutely haywire at midnight.
Yeah, all the equipment, everything.
But I have a habit of singing things as I walk along, like making up words, like I'm talking to Robert and Nash, and that's what we're doing. And that's just what I do, right? I told you I'm the weirdo. So on the video is me singing as I'm walking through the rooms. And I stopped and I thought about it, and what the guys were singing, not necessarily the same words, but the same cadence and the same tune. So I don't know if they were mocking me or trying to acknowledge, give me some kind of acknowledgement that they heard us.
Did you catch this on audio, or you were like still going through it, or?
I have me singing on audio. We do not have them singing on audio because we were in bed trying to go to sleep. They have a policy where you have to be up and ready to leave by 9:00. Yeah. So we wanted to catch some of the DVR stuff. So we were trying to get up by 6 to catch some of the DVR stuff, which also did not work when we went to download it. But no. And that's the thing that's frustrating and why we're going back is we did not catch what I wanted to catch on camera, right? All the things that happened, there was a door to a room that kept opening and closing on its own. So John's an engineer. John went and checked the hinges and he checked the way that the door, and he's like, this door should naturally swing shut, but there's no way in heck this door should be swinging open. It's basically going uphill to swing open. Yeah. And they kept opening. And I think we even caught that on the Facebook Live at some point. Somebody pointed it out to me. I haven't been able to get a copy of that video, so I can't tell you for sure. But I think it was even caught on the Facebook Live that the door, we had shut it and opened, or we had opened it in each other, something like that. But somebody called it out in the Facebook Live. Just lots of running around, lots of giggling. In the carousel room, the kids absolutely loved the music box. So I recommend that. We get a lot of good activity around the music box. But it was kind of spooky. John went upstairs at one point during the live. I guess it was right around midnight when things started amping up. Put the walkie-talkie up there. We were going to try and do a walkie-talkie to walkie-talkie EVP type of session to see if we could get response. And you could see him on the camera, on the DVR camera, going up into the room and stopping and staring at the corner. And I don't know if you want to tell the rest of the story, John. No, maybe he's thinking about it. What happened when you went up into that room?
Well, I went up there to place. We were going to do a remote EVP, attempting to do it with the 2A radio, and that was a suggestion of one of the group. Once we got everything up and running, so like an idiot, I volunteer. Oh, I'll go up there in the pitch black and climb up the stairs and place the stuff in the room where all the occult has been going on and 7 evil demons brought into the property won't leave. So I go up there with this pieces of equipment, and as I approach the doorway, I was startled by a sound. It was two things at once. It was a click, almost like a magnetic relay switch, if you know what that sounds like, engaging, and also a very harsh, raspy, whispered syllable, not even a word, just a very but hateful, negative sounding, harsh syllable being uttered at the same time as this click. And it all came from the right rear of the room, from my perspective. And you can see me on the closed circuit camera, kind of walking up. Here I come, lumbering into the room, and then whoop, you see me look up, and then I'm kind of hunkered down a little bit, and I look into the back corner, and I'm going to flash my flashlight back there toward it, and then I kind of in a leery way go about placing my equipment, and several times I think I look back over my shoulder into that corner while I'm doing my work. Then I scuttled out of there. Yeah,
he wouldn't go back up there.
No, no, I did. I went back up there to retrieve the camera, the equipment, not the camera, and not very happily, but I did it. And so when I went into the room. I didn't get any of that, but I grabbed the stuff real quick and turned around and left. And as I was walking toward the stairs, which are centrally located on the second floor, in the room on the opposite end of the house, I noticed an object had mysteriously placed itself in the middle of the floor, right centered in the doorway, that I did not recall being there earlier. And so that further spooked me. I mean, and as I passed by, there's a third room up there, all in this kind of like top of the stairs foyer thing. There's a third room that had a, what do you call it? A plasma ball?
Plasma ball.
Had a plasma ball running in it.
Plugged in.
Yeah, plugged into power. I did not see that plasma ball running, but when we go back and look at the closed circuit TV cameras, we see it running.
Yeah, but John stuck his head in that room and it wasn't running.
It wasn't running. So I don't know how to explain that.
What was the item that was on the floor?
It was a children's play ball, one of those
big rubber ball.
Well, vinyl ball. It's like, I don't know what age you guys are, but when I was a little kid, when we were little kids, Cecelia and I, we'd go to the grocery store, and there was a basket on an end cap full of the that little marbles.
Yeah,
giant marbles. They're made out of slick vinyl.
Yeah.
One of those play balls.
Okay.
I think this one was green and white marbled.
They wanted you to play. They wanted you to play.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
Or something.
But all of those things at once, that spooked me. I'm not going to lie, guys. I got a little bit spooked, and I didn't go back upstairs until daylight the next day. I just wasn't going to have it.
Well, that and going up the stairs at our age was a bit much.
Well, that's always a bit much, but...
You'll hear me on the videos in the morning.
Yeah, right.
Degrees in there. There was no air conditioning, so it was 100 degrees in there.
Oh, there's no air conditioning upstairs at all.
None, and it was...
Oh, Lord.
And the way the house is constructed, there's no attic above it. You are in the attic in the second floor. So all ceilings are pitched. So basically the ceilings are on the side of the roof. So there's no insulation between the roof and you. And so it is an inferno upstairs.
But you know what the most bizarre thing that happened that night?
What was it?
I'm not kidding.
You can say there's a single
No, I can. I can. And when I tell you, you're going to say, oh, yeah, that's right.
All right.
So
Ready?
it wasn't the singing. It wasn't all the shadow people.
The doors.
It wasn't the doors or the knocking or the banging or the stomping or the walking or the whispering, the constant whispering and the giggling. And it wasn't any of that. The moving balls, none of it. When John went upstairs to get the walkie-talkie, we had a recorder up there. So he grabbed the recorder and the walkie-talkie and brought it downstairs while we were doing the Facebook Live so that we could do a live playback of it. While he was trying to get it to play back, because when I tell you equipment failure across the board, it was the weirdest thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
We heard a recorder play back. But it wasn't that recorder.
Okay, she's right.
That John had in his hand. The one that John had in his hand was not playing back. It was coming from a different recorder.
We know which recorder and we know which room it was in, and it was not the one I was playing.
And it was turned off and plugged in, the recorder that we had used for that particular session. I don't remember what we were talking about, how much we like children.
Yep.
Yeah.
When we were in the carousel.
And you can hear that plain as day coming out of the thing in my hand.
You can hear it, but it wasn't on the recorder that John had in his hand. It was on a recorder that we had plugged in 3 rooms down and turned off.
Yeah.
Man, they're really they're really messing with y'all.
They had a field day, and I think our biggest mistake is we were laughing. It was like, until they growled at John. I was like, that was pretty funny. And then the next morning, we were so tired. We were stupid tired, but I grabbed the SLS camera because I picked it up to show how to use it on the live, on the interactive, and it died. Mm-hmm. And it died. The paranormal puck, we have a paranormal puck because I like the idea.
Yeah.
I like the idea of being able to take something and throw it in a room and being in a different room. So there's no cross-contamination.
Yeah.
So we try this out. And one of the people on the Facebook Live said, ask them to show us proof of their existence, or I don't know, something like that.
Well, first off, they recommended that we take the paranormal puck into that particular room and place it. So we did. It was fully charged. It was ready to go. And you've run that thing how long?
Days.
So it's been powered up for days on a charge here.
Yeah.
So we got it going, and then we did what the group member wanted to do.
And she was, show us evidence that you're here. As soon as I typed that into the puck, the app crashed, the puck completely died, and we couldn't get it going again. Couldn't get either one of those going again.
The battery was dead.
The battery was deader than a door.
Being in that room. And here's what's strange. So if the app crashed and you brought the app back up and the puck was alive, you just reconnect to the puck wirelessly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it would just be oops, the app crashed and now we're going to get back online. It wasn't that. Everything crashed at once. The app crashed, and if the puck battery had died, the app normally would not crash. It would just lose connection with the puck.
Yeah, it would take me back to that home screen.
Right. But that's not what happened. Everything crashed and then couldn't be brought back alive.
I'm just happy that happened on the live, so people don't look at me
right.
That was like letting y'all know. Okay, this is it. This is the signal I'm going to give you.
But the next morning, we grabbed the SLS that I left charging all night long, and we got some really great SLS captures throughout the house in the morning. I went upstairs to, it's called Emily's room. We call it the occult room because there's a history of occult and seance and demonology and things like that going on in that room.
Yeah.
And we caught a kid sliding down the banister. We caught kids popping up around the chair in Emily's room. We caught all sorts of entities. I caught somebody trying to take the shape of a demon. It was weird. When we release the video, hopefully next weekend, you'll be able to see it, but it was really,
coming
really
soon,
weird.
anyway.
Yeah, coming soon.
We'll just say that.
Okay.
And I don't really believe in them, but it was really weird. So I don't know if we answered any of your questions.
Whenever you do post it, is it okay to post it on? If I can post it on the Bigfoot Club page?
You can post it wherever you want.
Absolutely.
I think people are going to be interested in this one. There's not a lot of that shock value, right? But we
I think it goes deeper in substance than that.
Okay.
It's very obvious that things are happening, even if we're not catching the sounds on the video. It is very obvious from our reaction. Somewhere on that live video, I've got to find it. Mike and the audience can hear the things that we're hearing for a brief moment in time. They hear those bangs and those stomps.
Yeah, at one point, he's in the middle of a major storm in San Antonio. We're all the way up in Mineral Wells, and we have this connection going. And I think he actually reacted before we did to a sound in the house. But we all kind of jumped at the same time and said, "Did y'all hear that?" Everybody said it at once. What was that? Did y'all hear that?
Yeah, it was fun times.
Yeah,
I love that people rent this place out for weddings and birthday parties.
I didn't know that. Do they really?
They do.
Oh, how
sounds
strange.
perfect to me.
Yeah.
Yes, that's me.
Sounds like Halloween to me.
Well, you guys aren't that far, are you?
No. No, we're in Irving, so.
Oh man, it's right up the road. Yeah.
Yep. I know because I know Ash has been there before. I haven't.
No.
You haven't been there before?
No, I went to Rogers Hotel.
Okay.
But
We are already booked.
We already booked for taking the team.
yeah.
Yep.
Maybe if you guys decide to do it, I'd love to go out there and do a podcast live.
Hint, nudge.
If
So
I don't have any equipment, it's something we can talk about, because I will tell you, trying to do an investigation and manage the cameras for the Facebook Live and all that was a bit much for me.
Yeah, it kind of away from. So one of the main reasons we're going back is we missed a bunch of stuff that we already identified that we needed to investigate.
Yeah,
and just couldn't. We ran out of time, and we had that setback with the technology. And not saying that we won't have that again. I mean, this property.
Oh no, I know better now.
Really be active on the conk out your equipment.
We're going redundant. If we go back, we're going redundant.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we have an SLS. We have They have obelisks. We have obelisks. So yeah, maybe we will use their equipment this time and ours.
Okay, well, just let us know, because I would love to go out there and do a live podcast.
That sounds fun.
So anyway,
maybe not live,
but yeah,
I don't know.
I'm actually gonna steal this from you, Cecelia. So, this is gonna be my last question. If you wanted to give advice to someone that's getting into paranormal, what advice would that be? And this is for both of you.
I would say research, educate, research, educate, research, educate. Learn everything that you can learn before you decide to even think about stepping foot. And then don't go jumping into somebody's house and start small. Go talk to your local neighborhood cemetery and say, hey, I'm new at this. I want to figure out what I'm doing. Is it all right if I come in here during the day with some of my equipment and see what I'm doing and kind of thing? Start small. Learn it. It's like going to school. Don't just jump into it. What you see on TV is, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, I'm going to say it anyways, mostly bullshit. So
go right ahead.
Yeah, you can. You're fine. We're unrestricted.
Reach out to a team that's in your area, a respected team in your area, and see if you can tag along as a trainee kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Just don't just suddenly buy yourself a digital recorder and a IR camcorder and call yourself a paranormal investigator.
I would have to say respect is the biggest issue. Whatever your motivation going into this, whether you're just curious or whether you really think that you're sensitive and you're wanting to help people or help spirits or whatever the case, go into it being respectful, because these are people, and we've had people say this to us when we ask the question, and I'm going to say it to the community, is these are people. Whether they're living in our world right now or they're past and they're stuck between worlds or they're on the other side coming back through to us in one way or another, these are people. And just like you'd want to be respected, I say utmost respect everybody.
You know what? That's a really good point. One of the rooms at Haunted Hill House is called the Scratcher Room, and they've had just about 300 people get really scratched, not just kind of scratched, but really scratched in that room. We did not. And I was talking to the owner a few days later because she was telling me, a couple more people got scratched after you guys left.
Like the next day.
Yeah, it was like the next day or the day after, and you guys didn't. And I think part of that is the first thing we did when we sat down in that room was we asked them, we said, hey, we're here to learn about you. We're not here to cause you any trouble. Please don't scratch us.
Right.
And we didn't get neither one of us scratched.
Not at all, not in the least.
We got a hootenanny, but we didn't get a scratch.
Right.
Good advice, guys. I really, really love it. That's good. If someone needs help in your greater area, you're because you guys are in Austin, right?
Yes.
If someone needs help, how does someone reach out to Crazy Cat Paranormal?
There's a couple of ways. We're on Facebook. So you can find Crazy Cat Paranormal on Facebook and just PM me, or you can email me.
In groups. Face group,
yeah.
Facebook groups.
You can email me at crazycatparanormal at gmail.com. And we actually have a website. We don't promote it much because, honestly, it looks like crap. But we have a website that has a form on there that you can fill out and send to us if you need help. It's crazycatparanormal.com.
Okay. And we'll actually post this on the Bigfoot Club page whenever I get off air with you. We get all the necessary links and stuff like that. How does one listen to the Crazy Cat Paranormal Speaks podcast?
We are on Buzzsprout, so you can search Crazy Cat Paranormal Speaks on Buzzsprout. You can find us on Apple. We're on Apple. Was it Apple Music? Is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. Spotify. We're on all of them. We're pretty much on all of them except Pandora, because Pandora still has not
taking forever to get us on the. But eventually, we'll probably be on Pandora.
We'll be on Pandora as well. But
we're on Stitcher. We're on just about all of them.
And I'll give you the main link if you want it.
Okay. I will say this because Pandora it took me a while to get on that too. And like they because like iHeart, everybody else, they email you whenever you qualify. Pandora never emailed me, and I had to just happen to go look. I said, "Hey, I'm on it now." So I guess they didn't tell me. So
overnight, I'm on.
So what you tell me is keep checking.
Yeah, just keep checking. So, hey, I want to thank you guys for being on. I really, really appreciate you guys.
So much for having us. We've enjoyed it.
I'd like to have you guys back on if you guys are interested. So,
Sure.
Cecelia?
Yeah, sure. No, I figured he answered for me.
Okay, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. We're over an hour now. So, but thanks guys for coming on, and this will be posted tonight. So
Awesome.
How long? Well, we can talk after.
it'll be on like before midnight at least. So
Okay.
all right.
Can you send me the link?
I surely will. Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good night. Hey everybody, this is the segment where I talk wrestling with Earl the Pearl. Earl, how are ya?
I am great. How are you?
Man, I'm good. This is a good week. A lot of stuff going on in the wrestling world. Pay-per-views
Sure
this
is.
weekend. Let's jump right into it.
Okay.
Let's talk NXT TakeOver in your house or in your house card. So the first one is I think it's all girls. I think it's like it's Mia Kim, Tegan Knox, Shotzi Blackheart, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Raquel Gonzalez. I think that's
a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot going on there, and I really like Shotzi Blackheart a lot.
I was hoping you would say that. I like her a lot too. I like the little makeshift tank she comes down in.
Yeah.
I like that. I remember my wife looked up and saw that at one point. She said, "She's driving a tank." I'm like, "It's a war, baby. They're fighting. They're fighting AEW. It's a war." So yeah, I like her.
Out of that group, I don't know who they're pushing because I know they're doing Mia with Keith Lee, and then Candice is with the feud with Johnny Wrestling.
Yep.
I know Raquel Gonzalez and Shotzi Blackheart were kind of in a feud too, so I guess they kind of just threw it all together.
Man, they threw all those rivalries in a big old pot and just mixed it all up. Like they even helped you remember that Tegan Knox and Dakota Kai had a rivalry at one point that kind of went downhill. They didn't really
finish.
It was weird. It is, but it wasn't as heavy as it was. It was like when they had the cage match and Raquel Gonzalez held her up against it and let Dakota Kai win. It kind of like fizzled out. But now they're bringing it back.
Who out of that group, who do you think they're going to push on that one?
That's a good question. I'm not sure because, like I said, they've been pushing. I think it's going to come down to the biggest one right now, which is Mrs. Johnny Wrestling, Candice LeRae, and Mia Yim.
Yeah.
Because they've been doing some good vignettes with her and Keith Lee against them.
They have.
So I
forget how bigger Yim is than Candice. She towers over her.
She sure does. I thought you were meaning like star power wise.
No.
But yeah, she Raquel Gonzalez towers over all of them.
Yeah, she's a big girl, and it's impressive.
It is.
So I don't know.
I would say those three.
Yeah.
I would say those three. I think it's going to be either Raquel. To me, I think it would be either between Raquel, Mia Yim, or Candice LeRae. But I don't know because they've got so much like volatile elements in that it could be anybody.
Okay. Finn Balor versus Punishment Martinez.
Oh, you mean Finn Balor versus King Cuerno? Okay.
No. Damian Priest.
I know. Because I thought he was King Cuerno at first. Man, you know what? No, I mean, as big as a rivalry as it is, man, Finn Balor hasn't been on TV much. He got took out in the backstage that 1 week, and then, man, you know what? I mean, if Finn Balor loses, it doesn't hurt his character.
Yeah. Because
he's still got the whole Walter thing looming.
Yeah, because if he loses, all he has to do is just go back to the demon, and he's all right.
Yeah. Or he could say, "My mind was on Walter." This is like the NXT side quest for Finn Balor. So yeah, I would say Damian Priest. I think he needs it because he lost to Keith Lee and Dijakovic.
Yep.
And then he went against Dijakovic, and Dijakovic beat him. So he's got like 2 back-and-back losses.
Yeah.
I think if you don't let him win, I don't know where that character would go. It kind of just gets buried.
Yeah, don't be like Impact and make people keep losing and stuff. This next one is the one I'm actually looking forward to. Tommaso versus Killer Cross.
Yeah. Oh, Karrion Cross. No, I like that. Both of them have something to prove. I mean, that's a tough one to call, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that because Tommaso, even though he had that neck surgery and stuff like that, he still goes strong. The only thing I'm worried about is like that first fisherman suplex he did, or the German suplex, whatever that move is. That first guy, like he landed on his neck. But the second match Killer Cross had, he did the same thing, but the guy didn't land as bad.
Killer Cross,
Yeah, so I think that was the first guy's greenness that he didn't turn right.
Yeah.
But as long as he doesn't mess up or anything and really hurt Tommaso Ciampa, I think you got to give it to Killer Cross because he's got it. He needs this win. Tommaso doesn't. I mean, Tommaso could lose again and he would be just fine.
Right.
I mean, look at the whole thing with Gargano. Like that was for the face of NXT, and then immediately got put into this feud.
Yep.
So I would say Killer Cross.
Killer Cross. I love that you're saying that.
I don't like Karrion. I don't like that name. I was mad.
Yeah.
I told you I was mad when they changed it.
Yeah,
so.
Me too.
What is that movie? His mama named Killer Cross. I'm gonna call him Killer Cross.
Yeah. Flair versus Ripley. This is gonna be a good one. And
isn't it with Rio?
Yeah, Shirai too. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No, you got me confused. I was like, was there a change? What happened?
Yeah.
That should be a really good one.
Yeah, I really think so. I think I'm not sure who's going to win this one. To be honest with you, I really don't. I thought about it for a while. I said, man, I don't know. I mean,
because here's the only thing. Because isn't she? So she's in so many stories. I mean, I'm not sorry. Charlotte's in so many storylines.
Yeah.
Like now. The only thing I'm thinking of is this. Just looking at like the storylines that there is. Mm-hmm. Like she's gonna talk smack to Asuka, which is fine. She had the champion versus champion match, but at Backlash, isn't she going against Bayley for the title?
Let me see here. I don't see them on the card.
Okay, I don't, because I remember her talking about it, or maybe she's fighting Sasha Banks. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I was gonna say if she was fighting for a title at Backlash, because I couldn't remember. I could see him maybe making her drop it. But
I mean, we haven't got to yet, but Backlash is probably like the smallest card I've ever seen.
Well, you know what? Sometimes WWE main roster needs to have a small card. I remember when I was a kid, I said, man, 2-hour WrestleMania, I'd kill for a 3-hour. And then 3-hour hit, and I was like, oh, I'd kill for a 4-hour. And WWE's like, oh, I hear you, Earl. Let's make it 4 days. And I'm like, no, I was a fool. What was I thinking?
I know.
So
it's too much.
Yeah, if she's not going for a title, she has to win it.
Yeah. Okay. I know this next one is like your big one, Adam Cole versus the Velveteen. I know you're looking forward to that one.
I am. I love everything about Adam Cole, and I love everything about Velveteen Dream.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like Velveteen Dream when he was on NXT because I thought he was cocky.
Yeah.
But then he actually got the developmental contract and actually hit the road for a little bit, doing like a couple independent circuits that WWE let him go to get him under his belt, and then he came back.
Yeah.
And since he's been Velveteen Dream, I've loved everything about it. I mean, like I said, like 2-3 weeks ago, I don't know. I've been trying to keep up, and I haven't seen anything. Because remember, we talked about the pictures, and he said I got a lawyer.
Yeah.
And what you were saying about they uncovered that he has done some other things in his past.
Yep.
I haven't seen anything about like an update, like he was cleared or anything. So I don't know. I mean, if that is all cleared up and he didn't do it, I say they got to give it to him because he.
Yeah.
This is like his title picture storyline for like 2 years in the making.
Yeah.
Like he's been hunting and fighting, and I mean he's got to win it. Now, if they're still not cleared up, I mean
he ain't gonna win it. Yeah.
If you take it off Adam Cole, where's he gonna go? What's he gonna do? I mean, he gets called up to the main roster. I'm really afraid they're not going to use him right.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about Matt Riddle. I mean, there's reports that he went to SmackDown because of the whole Brock thing, and Brock still has a lot of power. I don't know how much of that is true or not.
Yeah.
But I don't know where Adam Cole would go. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
Unless you're going to let him go to like their big takeover, and Adam Cole wins it back, and you just have a nice little storyline.
Yeah, I think
So,
I think you're right. I think if Dream wins it tonight, then you know all his like legal stuff's gone.
yeah.
So if he does,
Because they're not going to give that to him.
Yeah. Good
Hey,
point.
but it's going to be a great match.
It is.
They're both great workers. So
Okay, Backlash. They just changed this one. Hardy versus Sheamus, I guess, as the opener.
yes,
And that they were building that one. That's probably like the best storyline. I mean, I know it's not the best storyline, but they've been shooting that one for the longest time. And I know you didn't really like that story at all.
no, and I like that. Like I said, this week they made it not so bad. But I still don't like it when they showed like this is what happened last week. I know that's what they do. All wrestling promotions do that, but it still made me upset. But I like that that they were like, oh, the eyewitness said that the guy had a red hair and red beard. I'm like, okay, now you're just giving away that it's Sheamus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm okay with it now. Like I didn't know where they were going, and I kind of got soured on it, and I was like, I don't want to even think of anything like this. But I like how they're kind of coming back and like, hey, this was just a storyline. This never really happened.
Yep.
So I like it. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, if Jeff Hardy is going to be done after this, I think it's good but it sucks though because Sheamus has been around for forever. I mean,
Yeah.
what are you going to do to put him over? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
But it's one of those that I'm all like, I'm going to watch it, but if they would have done it any other way, like I was fine when he was making fun of Michael Cole. I was cool with that. I was invested in the storyline because he was making fun of Michael Cole. But then they threw his alcohol thing, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm on the fence with that match.
Yeah, I am too. I didn't really like that. I think his brother like tweeted something about that too.
Mm-hmm.
So
he did.
But Asuka versus Nia Jax, the hurting lady, the hurter.
I just think it's funny. Not that her hurting people sucks, and I love Nia Jax, and I've said it many times. But I just think it's funny because she's doing the narrative of every time in the ring, bad things have happened to you. But if you look at all the stuff, every time Nia Jax has fought Asuka, Nia Jax has lost.
Yep.
I just think that's funny.
I think Asuka's gonna. I think she's gonna pull this off because they've already committed to Asuka, and
Yeah,
I just think she's gonna at least hold on to it at least till SummerSlam.
I think so too.
So
and you could still do it was a fluke victory, and you could give it to Nia at SummerSlam. I don't know why they would, but they could. So yeah, but I think Asuka's gonna win it.
This one's I don't know how to take this one. This one's kind of funny, or I don't know, take it serious. Braun Strowman versus The Miz and Morrison. That's those stuff that they were talking. It was funny. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. But I go, come on, man.
Pranks.
I go, don't do that to Braun, man. Give him some real people to go with this. But anyway,
It's so good. Yeah, I like them being jokesters and pranksters.
Yeah.
My kids really loved it. My kids thought it was funny when his protein drink fizzed up on him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, this is kind of, I think of it kind of like the whole, these tag team champs with, the referee's kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because he is pretty funny. He's proven that whenever they did the mixed tag teams and he was part of Little Big Bliss or whatever it was called. Like he's good at comedy. He really is. But no, I don't. I mean, here's the thing. They could do a swerve. WWE loves the swerves. I mean, they could swerve it and have him lose, and then you would have the greatest heavyweight champion of MC Miz and Johnny Drip Drip.
Yeah, co-champions.
Co-champions. We are the Universal Heavyweight Champion, and they love breaking up friendships.
Yeah.
WWE does.
Yeah.
So then you break them up and make them fight, and both of them are tremendous wrestling talent. So they would have great matches.
Yep.
Hey, you there?
Hey, man.
I hit a dip, I think, and I was like, oh, I think I lost you.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I was talking to you, but you couldn't hear me.
Oh, technical difficulties. My bad. I'm sorry. That's what I get for shopping.
It's all right. Baby's got to eat.
Hey, they got to eat. And the wife doesn't want anything hot in the house made, so I got to go get food. But anyways, no, I was saying, I don't know how much you heard, but they're good at breaking up friendships. So
yeah,
I would be cool if they beat Braun Strowman, but I would like Braun Strowman's first U.S. title, like heavyweight title win, to last a little bit longer than the WrestleMania no crowd win.
Yep, I totally agree. I think he's going to hang on to it for a while, at least into SummerSlam.
I would like that. That would be nice.
Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. Now this was the main event like 5 years ago on Impact.
Thank you for bringing it. I forgot. I watched Impact. My DVR recorded. I texted you, and it was weird the way they did the segment. Like they did the little interview, and then all of a sudden, I thought it had gone to Impact in '60. That new segment that they did.
Yeah.
And I was like, Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley, and then he put him out in a submission move. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, he went out to the full Nelson. I was like, oh, is WWE going to let that happen again?
Yeah,
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you they do that on the show. They do like a flashback match. I don't know why they actually push the content on their history rather than the current talent they have now. That's just me. But anyway.
No, I agree. But I forgot they wrestled. I forgot that was a match. And then it got me thinking, I'm like, oh, crap. Are they going to do the same? Sorry for the bad language. I was like, are they going to do the same thing? Oh, no. Is Bobby Lashley going to win? I don't care who wins.
Yeah.
I don't care for Bobby Lashley that much, but I'm invested with the MVP storyline, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, no. Is this going to happen all over again? Because Impact reminded me.
Yeah. So I think Drew's gonna hang on to it. That's just me.
I think he has to. I think so too. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a good match. Like Drew, even though he sometimes is being obnoxious face, like I want heel face Drew.
Yeah.
I like what they're doing with him. I mean, he's showing his charismatic side.
Yep.
And I know there's some people who don't think he is, but I'm like, he's really good. I love Drew McIntyre.
He is good. I thought he was good on whenever he came up with Impact, and he had two guys under him, and I thought he was good then. That's just me. I mean,
we talked about that, and I was looking today. I was going to send you a picture of that thing I got when he was part of the Rise thing with the two guys.
Yeah,
but I couldn't find it, so I got to look for it again. But yeah, no, he's great on the mic, and I like him a lot.
This next, I guess the main event is going to be Edge versus Randy Orton, and I mean these guys are under a lot of pressure. The greatest match of all time.
Oh my God, it's so bad. They even got a silly song that goes, "This is the great." It's like very teen popish.
Yeah,
they got to deliver. They're going to have to deliver hardcore.
Yeah, I think Randy's going to win this one.
My wife and son believe that too.
And because I'm like a big Edge fan, and I love Edge a lot. But I think Randy's going to pull because Edge has already won one, and if they want to continue the story, Randy's got to win.
They do. You got to, and then he can be the best ever. But no, I agree with you on that. I think Randy will win it, but I think he's going to win it dirty.
Of course.
Yeah.
So
I want to see him come out. Like next week. Come out with like a hurt arm and have it wrapped up like his dad used to wear for like 80 years, kind of like the D'Lo Brown chest protector. and just pull a Cowboy Bob Orton and win it.
Yeah,
that would make me laugh.
Yeah, it would be, but I don't know. I don't know if you can equate greatest and funniest at the same time. So
I think you can.
Okay.
I think you can.
I love your enthusiasm. Awesome.
So that's what I'm here for.
I did notice on this card there are no tag titles matches on this card at all.
Of course, there's not. The main roster doesn't like Vince McMahon doesn't like tag team wrestling.
Man,
it's so sad.
That's aggravating. But anyway, we have
AEW for tag team.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. Let's just run through real quick on Raw, Impact, AEW. Let's just pick out what caught you on Raw this week.
I liked it. That the whole Lana and MVP storyline actually is I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like that he doesn't give too good what's about her, and then she's like you're just trying to suck up and relive your career, and he's like, say it so. You're doing the same thing. And then in Lana's crazy head, she's like, my Bobby wouldn't not want me to be out there. So I like that she's living a delusion. I like that storyline. I like the delusional storyline. It's good. And
go ahead.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'm not sure where they're going with this Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic deal. I don't know if they're gonna make Dominic.
It's a Dominic heel turn. It's a Dominic heel turn.
Yeah.
He's gonna be mad.
But is he on the payroll? Is he on the roster? I don't even know.
I've heard from different reports. Again, like I said, reports are reports. But I read that he's like training at the Performance Center.
Wow. Okay.
Here's my thing. In my brain, he's going to turn on Ray because he's really Eddie Guerrero's son. We all remember the Eddie versus Ray Dominic stipulation match.
Yeah.
And he's going to yell, you were never my real dad. Eddie was. That's my brain. That's how that's going to go down. It's not going to at all, but in my brain, that's what's going to happen.
If that were to go down, how do you think Vicky would take that?
Oh, well, she's in AEW right now, so she does. I mean, here's the thing: they're all really great friends, so I don't think she would be upset with it because they did it when he was alive and they were together.
Yeah.
Was I'm fighting for your son?
Yeah.
So I don't think she would have a problem with it. But I honestly, the whole thing with the son thing, that's not going to happen. But I do think Dominic's going to turn on Ray. I really do.
Okay. Okay, let's go. Let's run over to Impact. And I know you watched it. What
I did.
It was your first time watching it in some time. What caught your eye on this one?
The one thing that caught my eye, and I wanted to text you, but I was like, I'm going to wait, was Joseph P. Ryan, not Joey Ryan. Joseph P. Ryan, and now you watch it more than I do. Is this their right to censor moment?
Yeah.
Is this what cancel culture is?
Yeah.
Okay, I liked it. I love Joey Ryan. I was very mad whenever Compound here in Tulsa had Joey Ryan. I was on vacation in Pennsylvania. Well, I'm not mad about that. Because I love going to Pennsylvania and seeing my in-laws. I was upset because I didn't get to see Joey Ryan wrestle at Compound because I love Joey Ryan.
Yeah.
So I'm cool. That's the thing that caught me off guard is I didn't know he was signed with Impact.
Oh yeah.
And he's not Joey Ryan. He's not the sleaze, and I was very mad about that. I was
he just changed it. He just changed it too. It was maybe like a month ago. He changed. So
I'm very upset because I like that a lot.
Yeah, they had a quarrel with him and Johnny Swinger for a while.
I wish my stuff would have recorded now. No. Other than that, it was the I like that. What was it? The ladies wrestling. That Madison Rain. I like that she was. I thought Don Callis was part of the commentary team, so that threw me off. I didn't know what was going on with that.
He's doing the after show, but I think he's not. He's in a state that hasn't lifted the ban on traveling yet.
Okay.
So he normally does it, but he's in. I guess I don't know what state he's in, but yeah, he's it's usually him and what's his name, Matthews.
Yeah, Ross Matthews.
Yeah, so it's usually those two guys, and so it's actually pretty good. So,
so those are the two things that caught me off guard.
Yeah. Okay. The one I don't know if you were able to see it. I don't know because there was a little segment where they showed somebody pouring like alcohol into a glass. And the guy he's wearing a hoodie and he goes and watches TV, and there's a segment where there's like a newscast talking about the WWE releasing a bunch of stars.
I did see that. I thought that was interesting that they spoofed the hacker.
Yeah, and like they had that, and they showed like Gallows, they showed Anderson, they showed EC3, they even showed Drake Maverick.
Yes.
And they were showing it, and like I follow Gallows and Anderson on Instagram.
Yeah,
and they're talking about doing this big thing on July the 18th, and July 18th is Slammiversary.
It is.
So
are they really going to go to? That would be great for Impact if they got them.
Yeah, because
Gallows is just going back home because he was part of the whole Aces and Eights storyline way back in the day.
Yeah, he sure was. So that's the thing that caught my eye the most. I mean, I love the whole show. I mean, them making OVE always lose. I'm already used to that already. So,
yes.
But anyway, that really
I
caught my
agree.
eye.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. But yeah, that's cool. But no, I was really first time in a long time. I think you're right. I thought that the wrestling was really good. It was better than it used to be.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump over to AEW. What caught your eye on that one?
So much good stuff. Oh, good Lord. Because I like the Chris Jericho and Colt Cabana storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was great. I like that he's just that's the thing I love about Chris Jericho. Like he is taking the wrestlers that don't get a lot of shine, like Colt Cabana. Unless he was ROH, you didn't even know that he could wrestle well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I thought that was really good. I like Chris Jericho and what he's doing and the matches that he's having.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also liked. One sec, I gotta get over this. Excuse me. Sorry. The other thing that I liked about it was. I like that they've made Cody more aggressive, like for the TNT Championship belt. Like he didn't wrestle that aggressive ever since he's been there.
Yeah.
So I like that continued. That shows. He's of course he's taking the championship seriously, but that's showing that to me it's a story of I was desperate to get this, and I'm not letting it go. That's what I liked, and his blade work was really good too when he headbutted the wall. Yeah,
that's some good stuff. What caught my eye the most was and she didn't even wrestle is Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
I was going to say thank you.
I was talking to our friend from
yes,
and he wanted to say he loves our wrestling segment. Just FYI.
Oh, yay! That's awesome. I was wondering how people were taking that.
So I told him, I said, coming from you, that means a lot to me. So, but I told him that you were good peeps, and then you and I we would talk wrestling for 3 hours if we could.
That is very true. I was going to bring up the conspiracy theory thing whenever you asked the things I had.
Yeah,
I like it, and I like that. And that's the thing. I like that they see. That's what I like. Here's the thing. I'm not like big AEW fanboy. Like we talked about the camps and stuff, like off air and stuff.
But I like what they're doing. Like, people say, oh, AEW doesn't have storylines, blah, blah, blah. But they just set up a big Swole versus Britt Baker match right there. It was, they started it. They planted the seed.
Yep.
I thought that was really good.
Because, like, because he and I were talking on Friday night, and we were saying, I go, man, she is over, and she's not even wrestling.
Nope, and that's good. I mean, it's like Stone Cold Steve Austin when he went to ECW. He couldn't wrestle, but he cut one of the most best promo tapes. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, yeah, that's good. I like that. And the Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair, I'm a big fan of promos. Like, Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair didn't, for the first, what was that? The first championship for the gold, the Flair, whatever it was called. Mm-hmm. Like, they just promoed for a year. They never touched each other. They promoed for a year, and then their match at that time was the most anticipated match.
Yeah.
The same thing happened with John Cena and The Rock when they did the once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
They never touched each other. They promoted for a year. It was one of the best WrestleMania main events that they had.
Yep.
Even though The Rock tore his little, what was that, his bicep or whatever, first thing in the match, but they still went on. But again, they promoted for a whole year. So yeah, I'm very happy that that's happening with Britt Baker.
Do you wanna talk NXT, or because we already talked about?
I think we did. Nothing really out of the ordinary happened on NXT except for building up for their pay-per-view. I do want to say I like that Triple H, even though he's been known to have like a golden shovel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Same thing with Cena and stuff. I like when they debuted that it was going to be in your house, and he didn't want his in your house moment talked about. And Road Dogg was like, no, I remember you guys. He's like, no, we don't need to talk about that. And then he was all like, oh, Henry Godwin, put your face in the pig poop. He's like, no, I'm pretty sure it didn't happen. No. And then Shawn Michaels was like, yeah, all right. He's like, all right, enough of this. So I like that he will bring, making fun of himself. And you know what I'm saying? Like, he's pushing the talent. He's making fun of himself. So that's what I really like about NXT is he knows what he has that love of the sport. Like Dusty Rhodes gave him one of the only 2 books because he is a historian of wrestling. Yep. Triple H is, and I think that's why NXT a lot of times, even though they only people want to focus on AEW did 785 and WWE only did 750. AEW is winning the war. Yeah. But he's putting solid content. Like, I've never once watched an NXT that said, "Oh, this sucks." I've done that with the main roster, and I've done that with other promotions. But I've never really thought that, and it's always been enjoyable. That's the one thing I take away every week when I watch NXT. It's really, really good. I
think you got me back into it, and so I think you've kind of charged my batteries to watch it back again because most of those guys on that roster I was watching whenever they were in Ring of Honor anyway. So So SmackDown, I know you didn't watch the last hour of it.
Yeah.
But Bayley and Banks beat Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for the tag team titles.
Damn it. I was really worried the Iconics were going to be the one that did that.
Yeah.
So Bayley's a double champion?
Yep.
Oh, that. But you know what though? I mean, storyline wise, that makes her, her heel greatest champion ever. You know what I'm saying?
I'm kind of thinking they're trying to do they're trying to outdo Britt Baker. That's what I'm thinking.
Their storylines are very much alike.
It is. So that's why I think by giving her double titles that she's even though DMD's not even wrestling, and I go, okay, they topped her, I guess, by doing that, but I did want to say that Lacey Evans and Sonya Deville, that was actually a really good match. It
was. I actually got to see that. That was the last match that I saw.
Uh-huh.
I like that they kept the Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville storyline going.
Yeah.
And giving Lacey Evans the win. Because Lacey Evans has, unfortunately, we both love her. You talk about her. I like her. I even liked her when she was the heel. And she still calls them nasty.
Yeah.
But when she was the heel, she was even great. But they've been putting her in a lot of squash matches where she gets beat a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I really wanted her to win the title from Bayley, and they didn't. So I was glad to see her get that win. She needed that. Even though wins and losses don't count in the WWE, you get too many losses under your belt, and they just make you squash.
I know,
like with Nakamura.
Squash City, yeah. I did want to say, Impact did sign Deonna Purrazzo.
Really?
Yep. They just signed her.
That's nice.
So she was tweeting the other day that she's going to be debuting pretty soon. So on Impact. So which Impact really needs really bad good women wrestling. So
yeah.
But anyway, okay. I think we covered a lot.
I think we did. We covered quite a bit. I was very happy we covered.
Nice. So I'm actually going to watch NXT TakeOver tonight. It's my first one in a while.
Ooh. Man, I really want my kids to watch NXT TakeOver. But like I don't let them watch AEW because you never know when Jericho's going to call someone a shithead.
Yeah.
But like I like NXT and I want my kids to be able to watch that. But
you have to watch it first.
I know that I'm gonna. The moment I let them watch it, I'm gonna throw out a curse word because my kids know the curse words. They don't say them though.
Yeah.
Which I'm very happy with. Like when it bleeps, my son's like, I know what he said. I'm like, we're not gonna talk about it. Right. But yeah, my luck was I would be like, I'd get my wife to agree to watch the NXT with the kids, and they'd throw out a curse word. I'd be like, well, Daddy was wrong. Because they have really good matches on there, and I love it when my daughter gets excited about the women's wrestling. Earl, her favorite is Charlotte Flair right now.
Earl, you are right. You are right.
Which she should be. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing to look up to. No matter what you want to say about Charlotte Flair, I mean, she's doing her daddy's work. If they had territories for WWE, she'd be going around them and making everybody great. But yeah, and my kids love it. And I would say my kids are excited because that's the look I had. I just wish when I was their age I had somebody that was excited with it like they get when they watch it. Okay. So, but yeah.
All right. Well, let's do this again next week.
Yeah.
You have any shout-outs you want to do?
No, just like I said, I don't really have many shout-outs, like they change or anything.
Yeah.
Again, shout-out for you guys, because like I said, I mean, without the Bigfoot Club, we wouldn't have Wrestling Talk with.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. I appreciate you for doing that. And I would just say, shout out to, I'm going to shout out, I know she listens because she's like, oh, you're on a podcast, I'll listen to you. I'm going to shout out my friend Lisa. She's really cool. She does podcasts about football and stuff like that. She's a very knowledgeable lady of sports. And she actually got into wrestling because she became friends with JR. So
nice.
They talk and stuff. So I'm going to give her a shout out. She's going to listen to this week probably. Okay. She always tells me to send her the link when it comes up. So I'm going to give her a shout out. She's a really great woman.
Too sweet.
Too sweet indeed, my friend.
All right. See you next week, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
Bye.
Bigfoot Club for life.
I must bid you adieu, and so, goodbye, and good night.